yoga studio, and I'm really excited for our next guest, Jeffrey Tremaine. He's calling in, and he's doing some software engineering up in Seattle, and he's a fellow Coug, and I love having Cougs on here as much as possible. That's what the show's all about, help them grow their business. So he's in. We're gonna patch him through right now. Hey, Jeff, you there?
Hey, yeah.
How's it going, man?
Pretty good. Yourself?
I'm doing good. Thanks for taking some time to call in. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on, Tyler.
Oh, you're very, very welcome. So, your company, it's Isilon?
Isilon.
Isilon. Can you tell us a little bit about the company?
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess to really discuss Isilon, we kind of have to motivate the product that we make.
Okay.
So let's consider the state of the data storage industry in 2000. So this is the advent of big data as we know it. Suddenly, industries like biotech and media are starting to generate these just absolutely unprecedented multi-terabyte data sets. These are data sets that require analysis, and data sets that don't quite fit in traditional block storage models. So now, a terabyte sounds pretty small these days, but in 2000, it would take 120 of the biggest hard drives in existence to fit just 10 terabytes of data. That's a lot of drives.
Yeah.
So now consider some even larger data sets. These are data sets that require thousands of drives to store. Brings up a lot of new problems to solve. I mean, how do you read and write to that many disks? What do you do when a disk fails? I mean, what do you do if you need to extend your storage capacity? So Isilon was the first company to really come up with a compelling solution to these problems. They basically allowed customers to worry about their data sets and not their storage. And so what's the solution? Well, it was clustered enterprise servers. And these servers are all pushing thousands of hard drives. And the magic is really that all these servers are running Isilon's best-in-class 1FS storage management software.
It's incredible, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Can you let's take it back to so you went to Washington State. Can you tell us a little bit about your history there?
Yeah, absolutely. So I decided to go to WSU because I was paying for my college out of my own pocket. So when I was looking for universities in mind, I really had one thing in mind. I was looking for value. Of all of the colleges I considered, WSU is by far the greatest value. And why is that? I mean, WSU is a world-class engineering program. It has really reasonable in-state tuition rates. And more importantly, it has a very generous scholarship program for really high-achieving students. And this is, of course, thanks to the help and support of all the wonderful WSU alums across the world.
Yeah, go Cougs.
I mean, absolutely. I mean, looking back, I obviously made the correct decision. The investment I made in my education at WSU has already paid for itself just many times over, just in experience alone.
And when we talked last week, you mentioned Isilon's looking for a lot of engineers from WSU?
Oh, absolutely. WSU and Isilon have a really strong relationship. Isilon recruits a really large percentage of our engineering force from WSU. For example, consider the intern classes coming into Isilon this summer. We have about 20 new interns starting, and 10 of these folks are from WSU.
Awesome.
I mean, these are WSU candidates who are interviewing against people from just the best competing schools in the nation and hands down beating them out for jobs. And there are a couple of reasons behind that. One, WSU has a really project-oriented curriculum. WSU grads have a lot of practice, and they really know how to write a lot of code. And two, the WSU curriculum isn't really mired down in theory and academia. It really teaches the practical hard skills that candidates actually need to succeed in the industry.
But let's go back to that computer engineering, Jeff.
Absolutely.
Let us know what that major was like.
Oh, absolutely. So I've always loved learning new things. I mean, in elementary school, I used to read the World Book Encyclopedia for fun, and I really love learning how things work. Another quick childhood anecdote. I used to stick my fingers into light sockets just to kind of figure out which connectors were hot. So obviously engineering was a good fit for me. My freshman year in college, it really clicked with me that computing is a field that I can study for a lifetime and still have more to learn. I've been 7 years in this field. I'm still learning something new every single day. That's cool stuff.
Yeah. With your degree, what was the first thing that made kind of jump out and make you want to go to Isilon?
Oh yeah, that's a good question. All right, so it's 2011. I'll set the scene a bit. I've never heard of Isilon, and I start noticing that there's a crop of really brilliant young engineers who are turning down offers from companies like Google and Microsoft, and they're instead going to this really small storage company in Seattle. And that really piqued my interest. So I call Isilon up, and they fly me over for an interview. And by the end of the interview, it's pretty obvious that this is the place I want to work. So what did I see in this? It was kind of two things that I saw in Isilon. One is an engineering team that's just filled with brilliant, passionate people, and they really enjoy what they do. Two, it's an organization that top to bottom, just absolutely knows how to buckle down and ship world-class products. I don't know about you, but when I see that kind of genuine passion, talent, and momentum, that's something I really want to be a part of.
Can you tell us about your position there? Are you working on these big data sets, or what are you doing?
Yeah, absolutely. So I work on a feature that's called data deduplication. That's what's motivated a little bit. So consider a 10 terabyte data set with 2 duplicate 1 terabyte files in it. You're talking about a lot of wasted space there. You're storing 2 terabytes where you could only be storing 1. What I work on is a product that identifies these duplicate files and then consolidates them into a single file, and yet it still allows both of these files to be edited separately. This is, of course, a very simple case. Consider a scenario where there are 100,000 emails with the same attachment all stored on our product. Our deduplication solution will find these 100,000 attachments and will consolidate them into a single file. That's massive space savings. And from the perspective of the user, it's still going to look like 100,000 different files. That's some cool stuff. I really get to push the bounds of storage capacity every day. I mean, thanks to my contribution, big data can be substantially bigger.
This is crazy. How is Isilon currently positioned in the market right now?
Yeah, absolutely. So Isilon is actually really well positioned thanks to the proliferation of big data. The multi-terabyte data sets that I was talking about from a decade ago, these have given way to new, much larger multi-petabyte data sets. These are data sets that are 1,000 times bigger than what we were seeing in 2000. It's not really even big data anymore. It's the incomprehensibly large data. And who's generating these data sets? Well, it's a lot of important industries. We have oil and gas companies. They're generating geospatial data for petroleum discovery. You have biotech companies that are unlocking the secrets of the human genome and the secrets of the human brain. You have high-res animators to make the digital effects that you've seen in pretty much every movie in the last 5 years. These are just a handful of examples. And as these data sets are continuing to grow, Isilon is continuing to grow. I mean, the groundwork is in place for a push towards exabyte scale. That is a storage platform that can store over 1 million terabytes of data. And these are really big numbers we're talking about.
That's incredible. It's tough to wrap my mind around it.
Oh, absolutely. I have a hard time, too.
Let's talk about your involvement with recruiting at Isilon.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So, maintaining a good relationship between a university and an industry, it takes a lot of work, but it's absolutely critical to keep the degree program active, modern, and strong. And I really like to contribute where I can. I mean, that means anything from giving tech talks to students, participating in career fairs, sponsoring club events, and in some cases discussing curriculum with faculty to try to modernize the coursework. It also helps that I try to make it over to Pullman to interact with the WC community in person at least once a semester, so I actually know the faces and the names. I just want to take a minute to encourage anyone with a bit of free resources, whether it's time, money, expertise, get in contact with a local university and see how you can give back. That's what keeps our education community so strong.
It makes a big difference. Alumni support is so important. That's what I love about Pullman. I'm glad you brought that up. Washington State has a really strong alumni that really help take care of these college kids, getting them set in job placement, which is so tough right now.
Absolutely.
Listeners just joining us, we've got Jeffrey Tremaine from Isilon talking about how WSU college kids can enter the computer engineer field. And what would you say to just kids that are in high school right now that want to get into your field, or college students that have no idea what they want to do but are in the engineering fields?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Sorry about that. Quick delay.
That's all right. Would you recommend going to one of the college fairs, career fairs?
Oh, absolutely. Go to the career fairs, talk to Isilon, talk to all the industries that are there, talk to the people who work in the industry, learn what they think about the industry, learn their thoughts, learn what areas are growing. So a lot of people think that computer engineering is a field for these computer whiz types who eat, sleep, and breathe computers. I don't think that's necessarily the case. There's a really important place in this industry for people who just love to learn how things work. So if you're interested in just expanding your knowledge base, I mean, computer engineering is a really, really great field for that.
Jeff, in terms of wanting to learn more about the company, what's a good website to go to?
Absolutely. So Isilon actually was purchased by our parent company, which is EMC, a couple years ago. So if you go to the EMC website, that's going to be www.emc.com. From there, they outline all of their different storage platforms. So if you go and search for their storage platforms, you'll find Isilon very prominently featured. We're a very, very important part of their storage portfolio, and they push us very hard on that website. And from there, you can get both information about the product and what we make, and then also information about how people could potentially find a job at Isilon.
Jeff, the employers that work there, is there a lot of room for advancement and promotion and growth with the company?
Oh, absolutely. I started at the company about 3 years ago in a very low-level position. I started out as a software engineer.
Okay.
Pretty fresh out of school. Personally, myself, I've already seen a substantial amount of advancement in my career. I'm currently a senior software engineer at the company. I'm working as a project lead at the moment.
Nice.
And things of that nature are definitely available for people who are willing to buckle down and put in some good time to advance their career.
What's the future bring for you at Isilon, Jeff?
Absolutely. I'm going to continue working in a technical role. I really enjoy working in a technical role, and it gives me an opportunity to really get my hands dirty, to really work on the product, and really build something that can impact a lot of people.
And you mentioned the companies continue to grow and take on these massive projects. Are you seeing the hiring continue with that and follow suit?
Yeah, absolutely. Some of these numbers might be a little bit inaccurate since I don't keep track of hiring data, but I know when I started at Isilon, this was about 3 years ago, I believe we had about 50 engineers at our Seattle site. Since then, I believe we've expanded our engineering force to about 400 engineers, and these are engineers all across the world. We have offices in Minnesota, we have offices in Santa Clara, we have offices in Bangalore, I believe.
Wow.
So we're absolutely expanding our engineering force, but we're also, of course, expanding the infrastructure that goes along with that. We're expanding our sales forces, we're expanding HR, we're expanding everywhere.
Jeff, tell us about your office in Seattle. Where's it located? What's it like there?
Oh, absolutely. So Isilon is actually located at a new building that was constructed. I believe they finished construction on it. It must have been 2011. This is a building right across from the stadiums in Pioneer Square. It's a really wonderful area. It's actually right above the Triangle Pub.
Okay.
That's right by the baseball stadium.
I love that pub.
Absolutely.
Okay, what else do you do outside of work, Jeff?
Oh, absolutely. I keep myself pretty busy. I read a lot. I collect records. I restore guitars, amplifiers. I like to travel. I like to backpack. Also love climbing mountains. I'm a beer aficionado. I love a good IPA.
Nice.
Also, I'm proficient in about 10 different instruments. I like to play guitar, piano, trumpet. I also play a few oddballs like the glockenspiel. I play synthesizers and organs in a local rock band called Eskimo. In fact, we're actually playing at the Vera Project on May 23rd as a part of the Folklife Festival. If anyone's going to be attending Folklife and listening, and you're interested in a fun, high-energy indie rock show with a good Pacific Northwest tilt, that's going to be the place to be.
How'd that band get started up?
Absolutely. The band started about a year ago. It was just a group of folks who've been playing music together in the past, and about probably 6 months ago, they were looking for a keyboard to kind of fill out their sound a little bit. So I joined there. We've played, I'd say, probably 10 or 15 shows since then. We like to play the High Dive, Chop Suey, a lot of the local venues. We like to participate in the local scene.
That's fun. Tell me about this Folklife. I haven't heard of it. What's it entail?
Absolutely. So Folklife is a folk music festival. It's based in Seattle. It's actually at the Seattle Center, and they have it's on Memorial Day weekend, and that weekend they have a variety of stages, and they have just a variety of both local bands and national bands, and even a lot of international bands, and they kind of coalesce at the Seattle Center and put on a lot of shows, and there's a very strong busking culture around the event as well, so a lot of informal shows are going to be going on the streets. Just very fun festival atmosphere. I'd certainly recommend it.
Wow, that's really fun. Really, really cool that you're into that. I'll have to get out there. And when is that festival?
I believe it's on the weekend of May 23rd.
Okay.
So it's on Memorial Day weekend. Coming up pretty quick.
So all the engineers from WSU graduating, there's some really fun people working at Isilon.
Oh, absolutely.
So got time for one more question. So
sure.
If you were in college again, you know, what would you recommend? What would you need to hear to come join Isilon?
Yeah, absolutely. I give a lot of tech talks to students, and I think the thing that resonates most with them is just the fact that we have a really passionate engineering organization. We have an organization that really likes what they work on. And honestly, if you're out looking for a job, I mean, the money's something you want to look for, the type of work you want to do is something you want to look for, but doing a job you love, doing a job that you enjoy every day, and I feel like that's something that most students are looking for these days. And Isilon's absolutely a place that offers that. It's a culture that works hard and plays hard and creates a world-class product.
It's so important to enjoy and love what you do, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Jeff, I really appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for taking time to call in. It's good to catch up with you and hear a little bit more about your company.
Yeah, absolutely. Great talking with you, Tyler.
All right, we'll see you soon.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks, Jeff.
Not a problem.
Really fun there. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to send it back to producer. We'll be right back. You're listening to Community Real Estate Talk Show. I'm your host, Tyler Freed. See you in a bit.